This is CW Iowa Live.
Good morning, everyone. It's 11 minutes past 9 o'clock right now. Welcome back to the program. Lou and Jackie here, being joined by a good friend, Sheree Clark from Fork in the Road. And Sheree, by now, more than half of farmers markets are open. We've been talking about the ones in Adel and Bondurant and Valley Junction and Des Moines and all that type of stuff. And we're ready for a full season of fresh produce, and we need to know what we can do with this. But you are a veteran. You're a champion when it comes to farmers markets.
Wow.
Okay. You should have a crown on your head. You have any tips or tricks people can use if they go to a farmer's market for the first time?
Well, hell yeah.
Okay. Not just yeah. Okay.
Hell yeah. Lots of them. In fact, here's what I did. In anticipation of this segment this week, I posted to my Facebook page, hey, I'm going to be on. I'm going to be answering questions if you've got any. Thinking if I get a question or two, I'll answer that. In addition, hello. Yeah.
Lots of questions out there, and ones that I've even asked myself. We all know that we have some fantastic farmers markets out there, and there's always fun things to eat. But if we're truly looking at making healthier steps in our lives, sometimes it can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
The wonderful thing about at least the Des Moines downtown farmers markets, and I know other ones as well, you're able to meet and talk with the farmer, but sometimes you don't always know the correct questions, and you don't want to bombard them like, what's this? How should I cook it? So do you have some advice
Absolutely.
For people like that?
Well, one of the things is plan your timing. If you go, it's like anything else. If you go to a department store on Saturday at noon, the customer service people are going to be busier. And so if you plan your time so that it's going to be a little bit less traffic at the market, and typically that's at the very beginning or at the very end. More often than not, I try to go at the very beginning. And so you're catching people when they're not quite as busy and they have a moment to spend with you rather than being in transaction mode. So that's one good thing. The other good thing is put away your fears and insecurities. That's the biggest and best advice I can give to people, because they feel intimidated. They're like you said, what if I go up to somebody and I say, what is this? And they say, it's a tomato, butthead.
Right.
First of all, nobody's going to say, because there are different cultivars of tomatoes. There are some that don't even look like them. And so you're not asking a stupid question. You're not asking something that hasn't been asked before. So put that aside and realize that that's the best thing that you can do for yourself, is to be open and ask the questions of the experts.
So don't be afraid to ask those questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it can be overwhelming. I know you've talked about, like, do your research, go and talk to the farmers and things like that, so you feel comfortable with the produce that you're buying. But do you have any suggestions on how to, like, especially with the downtown one, it's big.
Yes.
And everybody seems to have certain things at certain times of the year. How do we know we're getting the best or what we should be buying?
Well, there's a lot of questions there. And one of the things that you said that I really caught on to is it's big. And the farmers market in downtown Des Moines is big. It can be overwhelming. A little farmers market can be overwhelming to you if you don't know what you're doing.
True.
So my suggestion is mentally quadrant it off, section it off. When you go to the farmers market, if you go Saturday and you know that it's big, make the decision in advance that you're just going to cover a certain territory this week, and then next week you can do a little bit more. So you can do a quarter of it or a third of it, and say I'm only going to go to 4th Street, or I'm going to go to 3rd, or whatever it is that you want to do. Or you visit certain vendors that go up one side of the street or the other. Don't feel like you've got to go to every single one.
Now, do farmers markets, they usually group the items together, like the fresh vegetables in one corridor and maybe the crafts in another? Do they usually do that?
Some farmers markets do, others don't. So there's not one blanket rule. Okay. Many times that they do, but some of the joy, and let's don't forget that I come here as a foodie and as a health person and healthy living, but don't forget some of the joy of the farmers market is the interaction, is the interchange, is the going to the crafts. I don't poo-poo anybody for buying a potholder at a farmer's market. Why not? That's part of why you're there. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, try new things. This is all about the adventure. This is what makes it so much better than just going to the supermarket.
Okay.
Do you kind of go check everybody out and decide what you're going to buy? Because I'm one of those, I see something amazing, I'm like, oh, I got to have this, and give it to me now. And then I take 2 steps and, oh, wait a minute, that looks so much better.
Exactly, yes. That's a common question. So I personally, when I go to a new farmer's market I've never been to before, do a quick go around.
You do a lap.
I do a lap to see what's there and what's available, and kind of mentally check off, well, I'm interested in this and that looked pretty good and I'm going to come back, and these people were busy but I want to come back to this. So I make a mental note. But if I do what you described, Jackie, and I buy something and I see it 2 booths later and it looks a little better, oftentimes what I do is buy it again, which sounds kind of crazy, but we're talking about what, 50 cents in high season for a cucumber, or $1 for a gigantic tomato. I'll buy them both. I make a mental note, or I'll mark my bag or produce where I got each one, and then I taste them when they get home. Because remember, what you just described, you're buying with your eyes. So you don't know which one's a better tomato. What's the better one isn't the prettier one. The better one is the one that tastes best.
True.
It might also be the prettiest, but that might not be the case. So that's the way that you that's how you get your badge of honor, because you've learned, oh, this vendor always has really good tomatoes. I'm going to buy those.
And
there.
that's one of the reasons that you say that you get better vegetables by going to a farmer's market.
Absolutely, you get better vegetables because, for one, they're fresher. In many cases, they were picked that morning. Sometimes they're still warm or still wet from the rain, or if the worst case scenario, they were done the night before. The other thing is you're meeting the people that grew them. You can ask the questions of it. And so it's fresh, it's abundant. And if you have children, the kids can understand better, where does this come from? It's not just tomatoes don't grow in bins in supermarkets. They grow in fields. And so let's meet the people that do that.
So I want to make healthier choices in my life, and I've been wanting to do that ever since we've met, and you give us great tools to do so. But I'm a terrible cook, and I love going to farmers market. I'm like, everything here looks amazing. Okay, I'll buy it. I take it home, and it sits on my counter or in my fridge, and unfortunately, nothing happens to it unless I do something really cute by cutting it up and having it dip. Do you have any recommendations for people who really don't have the cooking skills like like me, but want to make those healthier choices?
Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is learn. Take an entry-level cooking class, buy a book, you do whatever.
Watch your series or listen to your series.
Yeah, exactly, and sign up and follow me. Failing that, the very, very, very first step, but make some compromises. So, for example, what I brought for you today is some packaged things. So you've got some sriracha hummus, which is the darker red, and that comes in this sriracha hummus. It's got a little bit of a bite to it, and some baba ganoush, which is an eggplant kind of a pate.
That's right, baba ganoush.
Yes. So both of these I bought at the store. Now you know what I'm going to say next. Always, always, always flip it over. Read the labels. That's the most important thing. So what I'm doing is I'm buying you something that becomes the dressing, if you will, for your fresh produce. So then I just bought fresh asparagus, fresh carrots at the farmer's market, and if I've got all this in the refrigerator, when I get home, we're good to go.
Yeah.
I just take it out of the bag, cut it up, put it on a plate, and you're ready. So don't feel like you've got to make everything from scratch because you have fresh vegetables.
True.
Do a little bit of a trade up. The other thing that I often do, because I know one of the questions that people ask me all the time is, I buy the produce, I get it home, it's spoiled, or it's going to spoil, and I don't have time to make. What do I do?
Right.
I keep on hand always something like vegetable broth. This is just an organic vegetable broth I bought at the store. I keep this on hand. When the vegetables start to wilt or look like they're going to go, throw them in the.
Seriously?
Yeah, throw them in, make a soup. And so then you're not wasting.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then that'll last another couple of days. So you don't have to scavenge around and find a great recipe.
What a great idea.
Yeah. And then anything you can throw in there. So onions and whatever, fresh, not fresh, frozen.
Throw it in there.
Because for some reason I always feel worse when I let produce from a farmer's market go to waste, because you've met the person who went to all this hard work. Not that other produce, they don't do the same, but they went to all this hard work to create something wonderful, and I just let it sit and go to waste. So it's like
the intent was great too when you started,
and
right?
the intent was so on point.
And there's the guilt factor too, and all that. So
sriracha.
So a key to that, Jackie, is one, know how to preserve. That's got a little bite.
Got a bite.
I warned you. And the two are good actually mixed together too, so you can blend them.
So this one over here, this is the sriracha
hummus.
And this is, what do you call this?
Baba ganoush.
Baba ganoush. I thought that was just a Dennis, not Dennis Leary, comedian, Dennis Miller saying.
No.
Because he'd always say, that's right, Baba ganoush.
Yes, no. It's an eggplant pate. It's really quite nice.
Eggplant pate is what you're saying.
And I bought that one because it doesn't have a lot of extra oil in it. So again, reading the ingredient labels, this is a healthy little snack.
That is really good.
And I didn't cook anything for it. I cut up some vegetables. But if I wanted to cook and I wanted to know a little bit more, one more thing that I would suggest is do some research. These kinds of books are often on the sale table at bookstores.
Right.
You know, they're the ones when you walk in, they're $1. And, and they're wonderful to have on hand because what they are is they're like little encyclopedias, they're little compendiums of really cool, you know, this is fennel. It shows you, like,
I love fennel.
it's great stuff. And it tells you how to buy it, how to preserve it, and that type of thing. So for $1, it's great. It's a great resource. I keep this in my kitchen.
Do a little bit of research, be prepared, and you'll be ready for whatever
have
farmer's
fun.
market you go to, and have fun.
All right, and this sriracha one. You're gonna hate me for saying this, but folks, we always try to relay what this tastes like. How many people out there have eaten the Frito-Lay dip, the bean dip?
No.
Yeah, it's even better than that.
I was gonna say I wouldn't compare it to a bean dip, but man, it does have.
It has got a bite.
kick.
I know.
It's got a kick, but
There it
in a
is.
good way, especially if you like something. And mixing the two together is extremely delicious. You had a lot of questions that were given to you, so we're gonna have to continue
You bet.
to discuss this, and we do every single Thursday on our program, folks. So if you're wanting to make those healthier choices in your life, and because it is farmers market time, I know you're going to be introducing us to some wonderful vegetables that we can be like, I know what that is now. I'm going to have to check that
Now,
out.
which ones do you usually make the round? Do you usually go to Des Moines Farmers Market?
I love the Saturday one because of the timing of it, because I'm not rushed and it's early. And I love to go at 7 in the morning when the bell rings. That's my favorite. And I like big farmers markets. The Thursday one is really fun for socializing, and plus it's spaced enough apart from the Saturday one that I probably need something else. So I don't discriminate.
But you don't go overboard when you go to farmers market, though, do
No,
you? That's one of the
no.
key things too that you mentioned.
Yes, exactly. Buy what you're going to use and need, experiment, or go in with a budget, just like you do with a casino. That's what I do when I go to the casino. I take in a set amount of dollars. When it's gone, I'm done. Do the same thing with farmers market. You'll be glad.
You'll come out a winner, right?
Yeah, that's
Great
right.
advice. If people want more information, because we said there was a ton of questions we didn't even hit here, but people could still reach out to you. How can they do so?
You'd go to fork-road.com or drop me your question. I want to hear whether it's about farmers market or something else at info@fork-road.com.
And don't forget about the series that is currently running.
Yes, and to access that, you go to sowhatthefork.com.
There you go.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Baba
Yeah.
Kanoosh.
You're
Okay,
so
we'll be right
welcome.
back. This is